Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Hold My Nugget Studios, where the AFC takes on the NFC in your 2019 Pro Bowl skills competition. Representing the NFC, Russell, I turned a hoe into a housewife Wilson. Mitch, I'm not a bitch Trubisky. Saquon, I never skip legs Dave Barkley. Adam, I got a feeling. Mike, can I please have an elite quarterback Evans? George, don't get me a McGriddle, my last name is Kittle. Akeem, fuck Cody Parkey Hicks. Cameron, fuck the refs Jordan. Ryan, get me out of Washington Carrigan. And Bobby, why did the LOB leave me Wagner? Representing the AFC, Andrew Lucky Charms. Deshaun, where are my dreadlocks receivers Watson? James, fuck Le'Veon Bell Connor. Juju, fuck Antonio Brown Smith-Schuster. Eric, I had no hands in Detroit, but I found hands in Indianapolis Ebron. Kyle, this is my last game Williams. Miles, here come the Browns Garrett. Vaughn, why don't we ever have a good quarterback in Denver Miller? Denzel, no Washington Ward. And Jamal, fuck the Patriots Adams. Our first event, Best Hands, not sponsored by Des Bryant. Representing the NFC, Mitch, I'm not a bitch Trubisky. And Mike, can I please have an elite quarterback Evans? The NFC off to what looks to be a very fast start, but this is much like buying your very first car on Craigslist. Just when you think everything's going well, just when you think everything's going smooth, your transmission blew out. No connection. Somebody didn't pay their phone bill. Less completions than a Nate Peterman stat line. Mike Evans thought he had the catch. You didn't. It was a genjutsu. But now it's up to Russell Wilson and Adam Thielen to bring the NFC back. Did he just catch that with one hand? Good Lord Almighty, somebody call Allstate, because when you got Adam Thielen on your team, you're in good hands. Matter of fact, I think he might just have a weak immune system, because he's catching everything, as the NFC would end with a time of 125.8. But here comes the AFC and the Indianapolis.
My little pony, my little pony.
Colts would walk into the Verizon store, make sure they bought a new phone. It's 4G LTE, as Luck to Ebron would find their way into the Pro Bowl. This is a clear advantage for the AFC because they both sat in the back of the same science class because they've got chemistry. Up next, we've got Deshaun Watson and Juju on their beat Smith-Schuster, looking to take their receipt to the sperm bank because they're looking for their comeback. And Juju Smith-Schuster's got hands like Michael Sam because all he does is catch balls. And we're coming down the final stretch. Juju shows he doesn't drive automatic because he's got the clutch in the car, as the AFC would take the lead in the first point of the day. Where was his clutch when they played against New Orleans? Nonetheless, AFC have a 1-0 lead on the NFC. In our next event, the 40-yard splash, DeMarcus Ware takes on Brian Urlacher with new hair. The objective of this game, both teams must fill up the tub with ice-cold water, then proceed to throw a football at a target and sink their Hall of Fame representative. Well, in DeMarcus Ware's case, he didn't really get in yet because, he's not eligible, but in 2 years, you'll be a Hall of Famer for sure. First ballot. I'm rooting for you, bro. Nonetheless, one has got to wonder who approved this cruel and unusual punishment for these retired football players. They both have to deal with the aches and pains of their grueling football careers. One has to deal with the lack of a Super Bowl trophy. The other has to deal with their lack of hair. But nonetheless, now if they both drop into the bucket, they're going to have to deal with some elderly shrinkage. Both teams now looking to sink their opposition, but they got less accuracy than Stevie Wonder and Helen Keller at the shooting range. Jamal Adams would let it rip and he'd sink Brian Urlacher, but Russell Wilson would also sink DeMarcus Ware. Although the AFC did sink their opposition first, the referees deemed this a tie. Why? Because fuck you, that's why.
I cannot believe it.
On to the next event, precision passing, where both teams would have to select one non-quarterback to represent their teams. First up for the AFC, it's Von Miller. And this man's ability to throw the football is absolutely horrendous. His precision, horrifying. His accuracy, horrible. I've seen better passing at the nursing home or your local hospital. He'd finally connect on 2 different targets, and you'd think he'd turn the corner. It's all downhill from here. Von Miller couldn't hit a target if he worked that target. This is the worst passing performance I've seen since Gary Premian in Super Bowl 7. Now representing the Minnesota Vikings and the NFC, it's Adam. I got a feeling. Ooh, ooh, well, the white privilege don't really work with his passing abilities. Did you think he was going to hit any targets? He finally gets 2 points on the board. One has got to wonder if Adam Thielen and Von Miller were PhD graduates at the University of Jay Cutler. Nonetheless, Adam Thielen would connect on the deep three, giving his team 5, and under 10 seconds left to play, he would aim for the top 5 points he'd miss, but he would return and finally connect on his third attempt to give the NFC a 10-2 lead. Here would come Deshaun Watson representing Houston because black names matter. Looking to go deep, he's got 4 points on the board, but unfortunately there are no dreadlock targets. He's gonna fail to convert for some time. He finally gets 1 more point, cutting the AFC deficit down to 3. Looking to go for the deep 4, he's not able to complete it. Under 20 seconds left to play, Deshaun Watson's performance is much like the Houston Texans. Just when you expected a lot to happen, nothing is going their way. He would give the AFC a 3-point lead, but the NFC would look to respond. Next up, representing the Chicago Bears, Mitch, I'm not a bitch, Trubisky, looking to connect with the deep corners. He'd connect with one on the left. He'd then connect with the one on the right. Much like the Chicago Bears since 1985, he'd fail to connect with his targets the same way the Bears failed to win another Super Bowl. He'd participate in the Cody Parkey challenge because he'd failed to connect with 3 points. He'd finally get one in an attempt to go after the 5. But the target is participating in the Barry Sanders challenge because it refuses to get hit. He'd end with 11, but the NFC takes a 4-point lead. Here comes the AFC, baby. Andrew Lucky Charms going deep would connect on the deep 4-point marker. It would appear that he's off to a very good start. He'd keep going for the deep 4, but my brother, just give it up. You're not gonna connect. He would go after the 1-point marker. He'd connect on 1, giving him a 5-point total, but it's all downhill from here. This is just depressing. Andrew Luck is hitting more oxygen than Adrian Broner in the fight against Manny Pacquiao. How the hell are you a starting quarterback, a Pro Bowl quarterback, and you've only scored 3 more points than Von Miller? The NFC only trailing by 1 point, and Russell out turned a hoe into a housewife. Wilson Dunn gave him the W after the first throw. At this point, it's necrophilia because the AFC quarterbacks and Von Miller's passing ability may have already been dead, but somehow they're still getting fucked, and Russell Wilson would completely pour on the assault. This is just unfair. Russell Wilson is hitting more targets than Deadshot and Suicide Squad. He might just outscore the AFC by his goddamn self. With under 5 seconds remaining, it's safe to say that Russell Wilson rubbed his nutsack all over the AFC. In our next event, we jump into the Gridiron Gauntlet. Kyle Williams representing the AFC with Jim Kelly on a sled, and Ryan Kerrigan representing the NFC with Emmitt Smith on a sled. The old man's legs are shot as Ryan Kerrigan would take the lead for the NFC. Bobby Wagner and James Conner participating in the Kardashian ball collecting competition, but much like a trans woman, Bobby Wagner forgot his balls as the AFC and James Conner would take a slight lead. Here comes Myles Garrett. Following him is Akeem Hicks, and Myles Garrett would show that he doesn't carry all his bags when he carries the groceries. He forgets one. Akeem Hicks goes around the wrong side. The AFC takes the lead. Jamal Adams versus George Kittle, and who can scale the Donald Trump wall faster competition. George Kittle would showcase that white man can jump, but for Jamal Adams, black people do it just a little bit faster. As they would scale the final wall, it's gonna be Denzel Ward versus Saquon Barkley in a 40-yard dash, but Denzel Ward has what looks to be a 15-yard lead. Saquon Barkley's not even trying like the Giants this season, and the AFC walk away with a Gridiron Gauntlet victory. One final game remains. Get your bitch ass out of here, Trubisky. Who will be the more superior conference in the NFL? The NFC losing participants faster than the death toll on the other side of the atom bomb. Ryan Kerrigan's pass would be caught. It's 2-on-5 against the AFC. Akeem Hicks says, come at me, bro. They did. Now you're eliminated, dummy. Saquon Barkley versus the entire AFC, and he's avoiding more balls than a female abstinent virgin at a fraternity house on homecoming. Saquon Barkley would then submit his application to play the role of Neo in the newest Matrix movie. There's actually not a Matrix movie coming out. Hopefully they don't try to make another one, because you remember what they did with Ghostbusters? They fucked that movie up. But nonetheless, much like the Giants this season, everything would ride on Saquon's shoulder. But much like being the designated hole at a gangbang, it doesn't matter how long the opening scene is. It doesn't matter how long you build the anticipation. Soon enough, you're gonna get fucked as he gets struck and the AFC sweep the NFC 5-0 and they take the first game. We would enter round 2. Get your bitch ass out of here as one on the AFC, another on the NFC is both eliminated. 4-4. Russell Wilson trying to make things spicy. His pass incomplete. He's hit from behind. Kyle Williams and Deshaun Watson both eliminated. It's 3-2 in advantage of the NFC. Oh, did I just say 3-2? It's 3-1 because Flash Garrett got no hands. And it's Jamal Adams versus 3 on the NFC. George Kittle would rifle the pass towards Jamal Adams. He would catch it, but he dropped his original ball. Much like the New York Jets, they can't do nothing right. The NFC evens up the dodgeball score at 1-all. We'd enter the third and final game of dodgeball and the final competition in the 2019 Pro Bowl Skills Challenge. Andrew Luck would go on the offensive for the AFC, dodging balls from the NFC. More offense that we saw him produce when they played against the Chiefs in the playoffs, but we ain't talking about that right now. As he would throw 2 passes, one would be caught, he's eliminated. Watch out! What a dodge from Saquon Barkley and Bobby Wagner. Deshaun Watson, the last hope for the AFC, but he connects with the ball and he goes down. The NFC walk away with your 2019 skills competition. Why aren't you following me? Why haven't you subscribed already? You don't hear this shit? I'm hilarious.
What the hell wrong with them? What's wrong with them? What's wrong with him?
So what's on?
You big dummy! Nancy! Nancy! Hold my nuggets. Suck my dick!
Yes, maman. Quoi?